So, hi everyone. Thank you for being here. And I'm really happy today to talk about something that I really enjoy talking about. And also because we have some special news. So today we are talking about server-side rendering and all the new features. But I want also to look back to the past to understand better what we arrived, where we have arrived. So something about me, I'm a senior software engineer in a small company in the north of Italy called Atlantis. And I do mainly front end, but I like to play with stuff, also like with electronics as well. And I like to be at conferences, so I travel a lot and I like to speak and share what I'm learning during my path. So I wanted to make an introduction to why we should talk about server-side rendering. So the problems for me are like that users expect to have a user experience that's it's really smooth. So we want users to actually be interactive with our application at the first time, easily and instantly. And also we don't want to have like some heavy JavaScript for our app when we are loading our app. And I think that SSR and iteration are bringing back some performance and SEO for our applications. And Angular now supports them natively. So why not talk about this? So what is server-side rendering? So SSR stands for server-side rendering. It means that the server actually generates the HTML that we are like showing on our browser. So the server generates that, the HTML is sent to the browser, and the browser actually hydrates the application to make it interactive. So this is like in small bits what we are going to have. So we have like our browser, and when we request a route, we send a request to our server. The server generates the HTML and send it to the client. So this is like in small bits what it's actually SSR is. So let's start from the beginning and talk about a little bit of history of how we've arrived with the solution that we have today. So let's start from the beginning in 2010, when actually AngularJS was built, and this was built as a single-page application. So there was like no server-side rendering. No one was talking about that, and there was like some challenges about SEO in particular, because like there was like some workaround to have like SEO. The importance of SEO was there, but it wasn't like a real issue for Angular. And the mindset was like, browser got this, and we don't need like server-side rendering. We can like do the best client-side rendering to give the best performance without like going back to that old something from the past. Like server-side rendering was the way that web application was built like before Angular. So it was like something for the past, and no one wanted to go back to that. So the early attitudes was like, who needs SSR? And actually there is a video of after the presentation of Angular JS, the Angular team was like thinking about SSR, and they were saying that they actually tried to build a solution for Angular with SSR, but they just leave that because it wasn't like something really important, and it was something for the past. So let's focus on client-side rendering, and it will be just fine. So after some years, Angular Universal came in, and it was like the first solution for server-side rendering for Angular. And it wasn't like the best solution at the start. Let's say that in 2016, we had like something that was really really used, let's say, it was like Angular Universal was a package, so it was like a third-party project that allows you to render on the server your Angular application. And Google actually adopted Angular Universal as the official server-side rendering library. So if you were using Angular, you wanted server-side rendering, Angular Universal was like the official package to use. And in Angular version 4, actually Angular Universal was integrated into the Angular platform with this package, platform server, and some tools that allows you to use this package with the help of Angular to solve some issues that came at the start of Angular Universal. So you had like a server-side renderer that will run Angular to generate that HTML that we need for the first load. And then with this, we can like improve like SEO and have like some performance for the initial state of our application. But Angular Universal came with some problems, some real complexity, let's say, and it was like rendered, it was like running on a Node.js server. So we had like a server that it was like Express server, and also like our Angular application running. So we had like two things that we need to care about, and it was like really complex to actually build an application. And there was like no hydration back then. So before 2023, there was like no hydration. So what was going on? So we had like our Angular Universal page that was loaded, and then like the app will actually like throw away the HTML that was generated by the server, and then re-renders the application. So it was like really expensive in terms of performance as well. And the user, like for user experience, was really bad, because you see that flicky white page, like you see something that's then a white page, and then you see again your page again. So it wasn't like the best solution. And what developers had to do, they usually had to like avoid to use some browser-only APIs at the startup, because like the startup was the real issue, and they needed to like manage everything to avoid and be careful about all the re-render components. So in terms of performance, it was like really costly, but it was like also like really important, because like it kept Angular in the game of SSR. So Angular Universal, let's say that gave Angular what were like the problems of SSR, and Angular, when they had to actually improve these problems, they actually had what was actually the issue, and it actually defined what to improve, like hydration, partial loading, and all the stuff that we are going to talk about in a bit. And also we had like a great community, there was like a big community around SSR, and also like that made the Angular team to make SSR a priority. And we came it like in 2023, it's a little bit late, but we have arrived on that. And that's what was actually thanks to the community and the community feedbacks. And without Angular Universals, like building SSR from zero for the Angular team would have been like a real issue. So we talked about hydration. So when hydration actually came, it came with Angular 16. So we had like hydration. What was like hydration? When Angular 16 came out, everyone was talking about hydration. I wasn't like that into SSR actually. So I was like, hydration, everyone is talking about hydration. What is hydration? It's actually, for me, it's like reusing the HTML that the actual server was created. So we are not like destroying that HTML, we are reusing it without like losing performance in that case. So Angular 16 introduced a non-destructive hydration. It means that the frameworks will reuse our DOM that was rendered by the server and just adds what is missing, so the interactivity. And that solves the big issue about user experience that was like that flicky page, the white page that user sees. And by attaching all the JavaScript, it will like remove that re-render addition. So no content will flash for the user because like it's just that HTML that have brought the JavaScript and all the interactivity of the page. So we had like also like some wins for performance because like hydration will avoid some redundant work because we don't have like to reload our page. And also like we had like all the benefits of SSR like SEO and also like fast content loading. And how we need to enable this in version 16, we had like in developer preview hydration, this integration with provide client hydration, and it was like just added in the providers, and that was like that's it, and you can actually use it. So the result was like that we had like some immediately the community saw immediately some better performance, and also like the content was not disappearing on the load, and that's like made the community really excited about that. So that's why everyone was talking about hydration. So what's happened now, like what happened before, so we actually from the browser request the HTML was sent to the browser, and Angular what does like bootstraps and destroy that and regenerates another HTML that is interactive. But with Angular 16, we have like the browser that received the HTML from the server and actually downloads the JavaScript and execute that JavaScript, and the page is actually full interactive. So we don't have like any destroys in the way. So we had like also like some limitation with this because like it wasn't like a real product, like perfect product. So we had like, it was in developer preview. So Angular was actually waiting for feedbacks from the community. Hydration wasn't like a default in that case. And we had like that ng-skip hydration. So they gave the developer the option to skip hydration in some parts because sometimes it was like really an issue. Because like, for example, for like the worst thing was for translations. So for internationalization, it wasn't like really ready for SSR. So it wasn't like working at all. So that skip hydration, it was like really important for all the third-party scripts that we needed to use in our application in order to be able to use SSR, but without hydration. So we are going, after this, something happened in Angular. It came Angular 17. And Angular 17, it was like the renaissance of Angular. And also like for server-side rendering was something like that changed a lot. So what actually changed? It changed that Angular Universal wasn't there anymore. So it was destroyed, and it wasn't destroyed. It was like moved into the actual Angular repository. So it was like an official product from Angular. So Angular deprecated all the packages that was like built for Angular Universal. So we had like something new on our Angular framework, and it has like this Angular SSR package that was like fully integrated and part of the core Angular. And with just one command, you can just set up your SSR in like an easy way. Like you just add the Angular for like your application that was already built, or like when you create a new Angular application, you just had the SSR to just create an app ready for SSR. And this will generate all the file that you need, the server part and everything for your application. So Angular team merged the Angular Universal repository into the main Angular repo, and this integration made Angular responsible of the maintenance of this. So they have like full control of server-side rendering. So let's see some advanced. So with this, like Angular is in control of SSR, and we have like that advanced hydration feature that came after this. So in Angular 17, they came up with deferrable views. Deferrable views wasn't like really about SSR at the start. So it was like some lazy loading for templates. Okay, so it's like something we can think about it like load this component later or under some conditions. So you just like individual some components or like some part of your templates that you don't want like to be loaded initially. You just like hide them until they are actually requested. And for example, in this case, we have like some main content, and you can see it, and then you can like defer, in this case, like some expensive chart component. And in the meanwhile, we have like a placeholder, like there is a chart that is loading, so you can like actually advise your user. And on idle, it means when the actual page is loaded, and then you can actually render that component that is costly, so you don't have like to wait at the start that everything is rendered in the same time. So with these developer views that came in Angular 17 and then in Angular 18 was a little bit stable, we had like incremental hydration. So it was introduced in Angular 18 in developer preview. It's still in developer preview, actually, also like Angular 19, but it means that you can like lazy load hydration on actually on your template, and you can like do it like on demand instance of like hydrate all the page in the at once. So how we can do this? Like for example, here we had a defer with hydrate on interaction. So until you don't interact with that component, for example, you will not like have it hydrated. So you can see it, but it's not interactive until you just like go through it, and then it actually hydrates and it's actually usable. So in this case, we had like also like hydration, incremental hydration. We can like have like some components that are not fully hydrated. So in that case, what's the benefit of that? It's the benefit that you don't have like all the JavaScript. So you have like performance increase with that. And also like you can actually delay loading some components that are not immediately needed. So you can like win of some performance on it. But what was the problem? The problem was like, if the part that is not hydrated, what if the user actually interact with this, and like you will like actually lose that information. So that's where Event Replay actually came as a solution for this, because like there was a lot of problems with like non-hydrated elements on your application. So in particular, like the first at the first load, if the user like clicks on some buttons, or actually if it's not like interactive, it will lose actually that information. So Event Replay came in Angular 18, and it was introduced to capture those interaction. So it will be like queued and like stored all this information. And how it works, like if a user clicks or like do something in our application when it's not hydrated yet, it will be queued, and then Angular, when it's actually hydrate, it will replace all the events, and as it was just clicked or just interacted. So you have like some events that will be replayed when the actual application is hydrated and ready for interaction. So this is actually still experimental, as in Angular 18, or both incremental hydration and event replay, but are like in developer preview. And I think they will stay also like in developer preview for a while, but we are getting some feedbacks on that. And for like dehydration user experience, the components that are not interactive, so developers should like know how to provide like with a placeholder or stuff like that, some visual that can actually know if that component is interactive or not. And also like this is like really a little bit complex also like for developers in particular, to like make sure that you can actually know how to trigger hydration in the right way. So let's talk about the future a little bit. Future also like the present, like now we are in Angular 19, and we have like also this hybrid rendering that is also in developer preview. And this is something that I really liked, because like it's like hybrid rendering. It means that you can choose how you want to render some components in your application. And in particular, in this case, you are doing it on the root level, not like doing it as the entire application or as the template. Here we are talking about roots. So you can design your roots, and you can decide if you want that particular root to be like use like server-side rendering, or static site generation, or client-side rendering. So this is, I think it's really cool, because like imagine having an app that has like some blog posts components. So in that case are like mostly static. So the pre-render is the best for performance in that case. But if you have like also like some dashboard pages, so you want like to use server-side rendering, because like you have like some data that must be shown immediately, and also you have like you need to be like dynamic, so you need interactivity. So server-side rendering can be like the best solution for that. But also maybe you have like some admin pages, so you have like a login, and in that case like SEO is not that important. So if we have like an admin page, we can just use client side, so we don't need like server side or like anything else. So we can like avoid some unnecessary SSR when it's actually not needed. So how we can do that? When we configure our routes, we can use that render mode. And in this case, we can just say like in the home, we just want like client-side rendering. On the about page, we want static side generation. And on the profile, we want like server-side rendering, for example. So we have like all in one. So all the way to render your application in one application. So I think this is like really cool, because like you don't need to actually specify in terms of like the entire application how you want your application to be rendered, but you just need to do it dynamically on your different paths. And the benefits are that you can actually optimize each page based on the nature of that page. And for me, it was like the best of all worlds in one Angular application, because I don't need to choose from the start, but I can choose based on what the user is actually seeing in my application. So what's coming next? So this was like what we have till now, but what we are expecting, it's more like what I'm expecting to receive in the next Angular version. So for event replay, that it became like a default on version 19. I'm expecting it to be full stable in version 20. Actually, on the Google I/O, the Angular team told that it will be like by default, so we don't need to declare event replay anymore, because it will be, if you are like using server-side rendering, it will be like by default, all the interaction will be saved and replayed. So I'm excited to wait to try this. And incremental hydration, it's still in developer preview. I can expect to maybe be stable on Angular 20, and also like maybe have like some more elements to that we can like choose when we actually want to hydrate. So like some more cases. And for hybrid rendering, the last thing that we've seen, so now it was introduced like in version 19, but I'm expecting it to be like improved and also like maybe integrated more with the Angular route package. So we are waiting like about this, but we don't need to wait a lot, because like Angular version 20 is coming next Thursday. So we are excited to see the news as well. So thank you. That's all for me.